Question for each of you. The draft being 3 weeks away, has the reality kind of set in that this is going to happen within a matter of 3 weeks? Matthew first.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Fun times. Everything goes by super fast. Um, yeah, I feel like you get more and more closer, and it feels more real. But you got to take it one step at a time, day by day, and just enjoy the process.
Yeah, just like Matthew said, I think taking it one step at a time has been something I've done. I think this year in general for me kind of flew by, but just trying to enjoy every moment.
For Michael, just wondering if you could clarify how much center you played this year as opposed to previous years in the O, and how that would have changed your game.
Yeah, coming into the OHL, I primarily did play winger my first 2 years. I think ultimately I want to make that jump back to center, and I think it helped my confidence level a lot. I just feel a lot more comfortable down the middle, got a lot more puck touches, just carrying the play on my stick more is, definitely something that helped me. So.
Hey, Matthew, just Jim Waters, obviously somebody that was probably smiling down on you today. Just how impactful was he, and what are you going to remember most about him?
Yeah, obviously I've been through a lot. Lost my billet mom, lost my mom, and lost Jim Water, all people that were really important in my life. My first year I got drafted to Erie. They made it super special for me. Meeting Jim Waters and Sheila Waters, they welcomed me in right away, and my parents felt really good leaving me, 2.5 hours away from home. First time I lived away from home and played hockey away from home. So they made it a lot easier of a transition for me, and I miss Jim a lot, but I know he's looking down on me.
Matthew, hi. How difficult was it to endure rehabbing and not being with the team, like not being on the ice for all that time? And how do you feel now, and how eager are you to get back on the ice?
Yeah, a hockey player always loves playing hockey, doesn't like, watching and not being able to do a lot of things. I've been through a lot in my life, and I'd rather an injury than losing someone I love. I mean, there's a lot worse things that can happen than injuries, and I'm pretty positive with my mindset, and I'm driven to want to come back. Obviously injuries are not fun, but I'm driven to get better and come back even stronger.
How are you?
I'm fully healed. I won't be doing bench press and pull-ups just because I haven't been doing that, but I'm fully healed.
Yeah, Michael. Hey. How do you feel your game can quickly translate to the NHL? Do you feel like, this is a league you could possibly play in next season? And would you see yourself at center and wing in the NHL?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think for me, I feel like I am ready to make that jump next year. That's ultimately my goal, to make the NHL next year. I think gaining that center experience that I had this year definitely helped my game, and just trying to become that more reliable 200-foot player defensively as well. So overall, I am ready to make that next step. Yeah.
I was wondering if you could characterize your meetings with the Islanders this week and your general impressions of that organization specifically.
Yeah, no, I had a great interview with them on Monday, and then last night went out to dinner with them. So overall, I had a lot of fun meeting them, and great organization. They got a lot of great players on that team, great young core coming up. So nothing but good things to say about them.
Just for both of you guys, I'm sure you've been asked this question before, but for Matthew and Michael, who was the NHL player you most compare yourself to? I'm curious both your answers.
You want to go first?
Yeah.
I love watching Cale Makar, Heiskanen too, really smooth skating defenseman. I don't think there's a guy I really model my game after. I love watching Brandon Tanev on the PK block shots, kill penalties. I want to be that defenseman that can, play all over the ice, whatever the coaches need. If it's PK, PP, I just want to be that guy that goes out there and works as hard as I can.
Yeah, for me, it's Kirill Kaprizov and Kucherov, those two guys. I do know they are both wingers, but, I think what they do on the ice I can relate to in a lot of ways. The way they drive themselves offensively, their playmaking ability, just stuff when I watch them, I can hopefully see myself like in the future.
Question for Michael. You had your older brother drafted by the Flames last year, and a teammate, Zayne Parekh, drafted by the Flames last year. as you've kind of navigated this process leading into the draft, how have you kind of leaned on both of those guys in terms of advice, inspiration, any kind of help you may have needed?
Yeah, no. First, I'd say just my brother. Yeah, it's huge for me to have someone so close to me in age, and went through this whole process last year. So yeah, he's been huge for me. It's just like my best guy off the ice, and to lean on for advice. And Zayne's another one. Played with him for 3 years now, and he's taught me a lot of stuff in my OHL career. And yeah, another great guy I can lean on. So it's been good.
Matthew, wondering what teams did you go out to dinner with, and what was your favorite thing about these dinners?
Yeah, I'm a talker. Love all these interviews and stuff. Keeps me busy. So I love meeting new people. Yeah, I went out to dinner with the Islanders on Monday, and I went out with San Jose on Wednesday. So two great organizations. Super easy. Got to know them over the week. So pretty easy going out with them. It's a good conversation. You just got to be yourself. So it was really good.
2 dinners?
Yeah,
Okay.
just 2 dinners.
Pretty jealous. Michael had 4 of them, so he had a lot more free meals.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
Can't complain. Can't
Yeah,
complain.
yeah, exactly.
But Matthew, I just want one more question. Just what were your impression of the Sharks organization, meeting them?
Yeah, like I said, every team I met with and every organization has been top class. The NHL has no bad teams, and all the organizations are very high class. But yeah, the Sharks were amazing. I got to meet Mike Greer over the season, and I got to meet their full staff yesterday. So we had a great time chatting. So it was a great dinner.
I'll sneak in a quick one for Matthew and ask you to talk about Michael's game. And then, Michael, I just wanted to ask you as well. A lot of people come into the O with a lot of pressure, but it's a different level when you're an exceptional status player. Looking back on it, do you feel like that pressure was a lot to deal with?
Yeah, Misa's a great player. Got to watch him growing up. I mean, he played a year older, so I didn't get to play against him much there. And then I got to play against him in the O quite a bit. So, yeah, he's a very smooth forward. Can put the puck in the back of the net. Skating ability is really good. His hockey IQ is another one that's really off the charts. So great player on and off the ice.
Thanks, bro. Well, can you repeat that second prize?
The O with exceptional status, that's an added layer of attention, etc. Looking back on it, do you feel like there was a lot of pressure on you at that time?
Yeah, I mean, since I think just applied for it, that whole process, there's been expectations, pressure on me since I've entered the OHL, and it's something I've had to kind of just embrace and take in. But for me, it's more just focusing on the hockey and how I can get better as a player, and not so much worry about the outside noise.
Michael, can you talk just more about your move to center? I guess it was a plan, and it's clearly something you wanted to do. Why was it important to you that you have that versatility and take on a different position?
Yeah, growing up in minor hockey, I was always primarily a center, and like I said, my first 2 years we had a number of good centers on Saginaw with that are a lot older, so I had to make that jump to wing. But coming back to this year, it's what I plan to do for my draft year is go back to center, and like I said, ultimately I just feel a lot more confident down the middle. That's primarily where my roots are at. So yeah.
Do you just like the additional responsibility, I guess, too?
Yeah, I feel like I am involved in the play a lot more, not just offensively but defensively. Being reliable, and yeah, so it's been good for me.
Just a question for both of you. Teams can obviously watch you play and get a sense of your game, but they're here to get to know you guys as people. Is there something specifically that you hope that teams took away from who you are off the ice?
Yeah. For me, I think the biggest rule I kind of lead myself by is just treating others the way you want to be treated. Going into interviews and dinners, I treat others the way kind of I want to be treated in return, and that's something I hold myself by. So yeah.
Yeah, I think just being yourself. They get to see you on the ice. Just be the same person you are. You meet people over the years. They like you for who you are. So just be your person that you are, and yeah, it's fun things.
Matthew, outside of just trying to get back into being able to play again, what did you kind of do the second half of the season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously lots of physio, trying to get back as soon as I could. But yeah, I wasn't able to help my team on the ice, so I tried to help them as much as I could off the ice, whether it was lineup reads, tagging them on the back. I mean, I was a big fan of the team and still part of the team, so I was happy I was able to travel with the team and do anything I could help them.
Hi guys, two-part here. Matthew, for you, whenever the Central Scouting rankings came through, you were number one. What was that like for you to be injured and stay at the top of that list? And for Michael, what was it like for you to be pursuing that, and did that drive you to try to unseat him?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great players in the draft class. Misa's a great one. Yeah, I think a lot of people, I've only played 17 games. Why are you at the top of that list? And I think I played in those 17 games. I really showed, I took it as opportunities and I worked as hard as I could and I left it all out there, where maybe if I didn't, it'd maybe be otherwise. But I think I really showed what I was capable of in those 17 games.
Yeah, like Schaefer said, there's a lot of great prospects in this draft, and for me coming into this year, I think I had a lot to prove to myself and to the world. So coming out of this year, I really just tried to leave everything on the ice and walk out here with no regrets.
How would each of you describe your experience in the last few days of the combine, and what's been the most surprising part about these last few days for each of you?
Yeah, it's super fun. Getting to see friends, getting to meet new teams, getting to see people you met throughout the season. So it's great to get to know, to meet people. I met maybe some GMs, but maybe not the rest of their staff. So seeing what their team's about, testing you on some things. So it's pretty cool to be there with your friends and working hard, competing, doing all the testing.
Yeah, same thing for me. Growing up with a lot of these guys, seeing familiar faces, it's been great throughout the week. And coming in Monday, it's Friday now. The whole thing kind of flew by a bit, but just tried to enjoy it because this only really happens once. And yeah, overall, just try to enjoy it.
And the most surprising thing about the week?
I think probably some of the tougher questions. I mean, so some teams do try to stump you a little bit. It's just something you got to be prepared for. So, yeah.
Yeah, like me said, you can go to one interview and then the next interview they're really testing you. So you got to be on your game. But no, I think they really just get your mind going. They try to get in your head. But like I said, just be the same person you are.
Hi guys. Further to that, for Matthew specifically, some teams are known to pick apart a player's game, showing clips, stuff like that. So did you get some of that? And has any of the interview process changed how you view your readiness for the next level?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it was great meeting people. You see what teams are interested in. I mean, like I said, they see you on the ice. They try to get to know you off the ice. But yeah, I mean, every interview was good, and you learn a lot.
This is a two-parter. So for Michael, is there something that teammates know about you that fans might not know?
Like on the ice or just like me as a person? Off the ice?
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at pool. I'm a good pool player. I got a pool table in my house, so me and my brother will play pretty competitively for that.
Who usually wins?
Him, to be honest. I've been trying to get better though. He is pretty good. So.
And for Matthew, is there a area in your game that you think goes overlooked?
Yeah, I think last year, started off the season, I didn't get as many points as maybe I thought. It was more a defensive year for me, and then obviously this year coming in, I think people were talking about my offensive game, and I really showed in the Halinka tournament. So yeah, I think my offensive game really showed this year, and I think that was overlooked last year.
For both of you, and as friendly as you two seem to be, you got a thanks, bro, and you go first kind of thing. What would it mean to you, Matthew, if Michael went first in the draft and vice versa?
Yeah, Misa's done so many great things. Obviously, watching him this year, I was, not playing as much, so I got to watch him a little bit more. But yeah, you get to know him. Great guy, on and off the ice. I mean, obviously you battle, but it's good competition. Off the ice, we're pretty close. We become really close. So it's happy to see. You want the best for them.
Yeah, same thing for me. I've got to know Schaefer over the last couple of years. Seeing what he's done in hockey is pretty special. Representing so many Team Canadas as well, and I think for both of us, ultimately, when the draft does come, whoever does, end up there, it's going to be a happy feeling for both of us.
Yeah.
So, Michael, Matthew is very complimentary of you and what makes you special. So I'll throw it back to you. What makes him such an elite defenseman?
Yeah, I think you're getting it from him every night. he's all over the ice. Kind of reminds me of Zayne in a way. You know, really good offensively, but then you know the bestie are good offensively, but you know are just as reliable defensively. And you know, I think when he does make that jump to the NHL, he's gonna have no problem fitting in. So.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, bro.